I thought I did a lot better this year than last year. I thought last year was my worst year on the beat, or it's definitely since I started having a YouTube channel. I felt like the success went to my head, where in the past I would work so hard at training camp to watch every little thing and be the one who had the most detailed practice reports. And I feel like in 2023, like I just realized like, oh, this is so easy. I can just troll Brock. I can troll Darnold. You know, I can just, everyone just wants to know about the quarterbacks and I'm funny. So I'll just make this like a running bit every day. And in doing that, I got a lot of like, you know, views, but I totally didn't see the season coming. I didn't see Brock's season coming. I didn't see Darnold's redemption coming. I was too focused on Trey Lance. I really didn't have a whole lot to say during the season. And I stopped going to road games. I felt I was like kind of disengaged. And I thought I sucked last year, frankly. And talk about down seasons. I felt like I bounced back a little bit this year. I was proud of the work I did in training camp. I thought like I was all over the drama. I mean, the Ayuk thing, the Ayuk watch. A lot of people downplayed it at the moment. Now it's really like fashionable to go back and be like, you know what? The vibes were off. And we felt it. Like a lot of people were making excuses for all this stupid drama that they were going through. But I think at the time, certain people, me included, were saying this is no way to start a season. This is no way to, I mean, and people would say, well, no, they have championship pedigree. They can flip a switch. And I'm thinking, what championship? What pedigree? What switch? No, like when they're at their best, they've had great off seasons like 2023. So I felt like I kind of had a pulse of the team early on. And I was a little bit more humble considering what a bad year I had last year. And I felt that I was able to sort of keep it going. And I'm mostly proud of the work I did this year. Now, there was the moment after the Seahawks loss at home where I got a little excited. And in my instant analysis or reaction, I called Kyle a fraud. And then the next day I apologized for that. Like once like that's not professional and that's personal. No. Right. It's personal and it's like a personal attack and there's no reason for that. Because he's technically like Jim Tom Sula was more of a fraud or Chip Kelly. I mean, Kyle's complicated, but he's not a fraud. So there was also, I tweeted during a game that Charvarius Ward had been benched when he had just been taken to the sideline for a couple of plays. And our relationship has never really recovered since then. So I regret that. I apologize and he didn't want to hear it, which is fair. And then I ended a working relationship with a streamer, Rob. Which I really liked working with Rob. I thought of all the shows I had, me and him had the best ability to argue and disagree. And I thought it was fun. And then on one day we got kind of worked up about Kyle and I started talking over him. As I went back and watched the stream, I was rude talking over the host. And then he got personal and I thought we would end up, you know, hashing it out and moving on. And he didn't want to, which I respect. So I'll give myself a B, but there were definitely moments that I wasn't super proud of.
Yeah. Self-awareness is key, Grant. You're never going to grow unless you have it. For context, one of the best things about growth is understanding that there's humility involved. I will say one thing that I'll say that I noticed about you this season is that you had your narrative and you had your perspective of the team through your hard work, right? And you didn't chase it this year. You let it come to you.
Yeah.
Right? Then it hit so much different when you simply stated how you felt, and we know the tempo. You put out the take, you get the backlash from the take, and then you have to sit and wait. You got to have the courage of your convictions. And I feel as though that it's not about wanting the team to lose, but it's about saying that I see this and I'm telling you the truth off of what I see, and it's not personal. And I believe that this year was a good year for you in that regard.
One more thing I was proud of, the youth check situation. That happened we were streaming.
Yeah.
As we were streaming.
That was on the coaches meeting.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like 2 years ago, like maybe that would have thrown me off. And maybe I would have gotten in a whole back and forth, like with Kinlaw. Like, oh, you're taking the shot at me, is on. Like, I didn't do that. I mean, I gave him the Tang nickname, and I've been grading him in the grades. But essentially, I didn't make it a huge war. And I'm petty. I could do that. I've done it in the past. And because what he did to me was like extremely unprofessional. And I could have been
It was a low blow.
unprofessional back, but I felt like I wasn't.
Yeah, he tried to he punched down. He knew that a simple tweet from him, adding your name is gonna do so much damage. And what it also did is that it kind of like pushed it pushed the inertia that's already around your name anyway, right? So it's kind of like all of these things that are not true, they're sensationalized and people run with things, which is awesome. That's a part of it, but he knows what he did by kind of like sticking his finger in, like, hey, maybe, blah, blah, blah. And it was mean. But also, one of the things that I like about it is that you thought you was going to get away. He thought he was going to get away, and you ain't get away. That very next game, he shit the bed. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's kind of like, hey, man, God don't like ugly. So it is what it is.
Yeah. And I one last thing I want to say to give myself credit. I was pleased that I ended the season strong with that question to Kyle a couple of days ago. And if I can say to people watching, me and Coach were talking on the phone the other day, and he straight up dared me. He was like, "You should ask this question." He said, "Would you do it?" I was like, "I'll do it. I'll absolutely do it." I didn't tell you I was going to do it the next day, but I was just sitting there. It had left my brain. I wasn't thinking about it, but I didn't like the line of questioning. I felt it was too soft. It was annoying me. And I was like, what do I want to ask? And I was like, oh, Coach dared me to ask this question. Like, and what I was proud about was if I had asked it in a very confrontational way, then Kyle deflecting it would have been justified. Like, why are you attacking me? But I didn't. Yeah. All I asked was, are you frustrated with your individual performance, or do you feel you controlled all the things you could? Because there's a world where he's like, look, I know we're 6-10, but bear with me here. I actually feel this was my best season as a coach, and I'll explain why. You have no idea what was going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. But like, for him to just be like, oh, I hear the question and I don't understand how to answer it. To me, that's the most telling thing about Kyle. He cannot, if you put a mirror to his face, he doesn't like it. What he wants is to have, when you go to like the carnival and there's all those funny mirrors that make you look weird. Yeah. He wants that. He wants people to show him what he doesn't look like. And it's like the emperor has no clothes thing. I mean, that's Kyle, essentially, the essence of Kyle.
I feel like the reason why I dared you to ask that question is that I knew that it would piss him off because but one of the things that I've been doing all season, if we're talking about retrospectively looking over the season, is I've been listening to all of the press conferences now. Usually I didn't catch them last year, right? Because we be doing our post games. But now because I run them during my show, I get a chance to listen to the press corps. I know those are your colleagues, so I'm gonna just move on.
And you're on the East Coast, so you know what it sounds like on that part of the
country. Come on, man. Yeah. It is not, it's soft. It's soft. And the thing that's crazy is that I have listened to so many people. It's not that you don't know how to ask bad questions, that you don't know how to ask tough questions. I can get that, right? Asking tough questions is a skill, right? However, when I feel as though that you're evading, like you're purposely not asking tough questions.
Because it'll make Kyle upset.
Because it'll make him upset.
God forbid.
Dude, it's like, man, F this dude, man. Somebody, who cares? He makes $14 million a year.
Like baseline, what a journalist is someone who asks questions. And so like when David walks around the facility and doesn't ask questions, but is just chronicling everything with his iPhone and taking video, it's like, you are not a videographer, man. Like, you're here to ask questions. Have you noticed that he never asked Kyle a question in the post-game press conference? You know why? Because he's not there. He's in the locker room. Videoing. It's like, cool, dude. All right.
Come on, bro. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, look, bro. The cream gonna rise to the top. And what's done in the dark gonna come in the light. That's the end of the day. At the end of the day, man. So I will say that if you're doing it the right way, things will get exposed. Just like, the question that you asked Kyle, nobody knew that I asked you to ask that question, right? Nobody. But everybody, the perception is, oh, you're carrying Grant's water. And it's like, you dummy. I'm the one who asked him to put the question out there, you idiot. And this is the thing that you have sometimes when you know the truth, you just got to sit back and let it come to you, right? You got to be on the right side of history. So look, man, I feel as though that next year is going to be crazy strong for both of us. We're going to do great things moving forward because I feel as though that we don't take this for granted. We understand that this is a privilege. It is not a right to do this, and you got to be a good person. You got to tell the truth, and you got to do the best you can. And I think we're aligned.
I needed the wake up call because I lost all perspective in 2023, and I think it happens. I mean, I never had any success in life. I got into UCLA, that was big, and then my YouTube channel popped off, and I didn't know how to act. So it was tough and went to my head. And you see it happen to other people. Like last time I'll talk about him, Lombardi. To me, my perspective, he didn't have a good year. 2023, he had a great year. I don't like his content, but he was all over that season. He was all over Darnold. He was all over Brock. Got to give him credit. This year, he thought this team was better than last year and said it smugly. Crazy. And so now, when the season falls apart and the wheels fall off, he's left, grasping for straws. Like he's got nothing right now. He's stuck in like, well, people don't give Brock Purdy his props. Like, man, you're so off the point. And again, maybe this is the humbling experience he needed. He comes back in 2025 and kills it this season. But yeah, I mean, you got to put in the work every freaking day, every freaking year. And just because we were pleased with our performance in 2024 doesn't mean anything for 2025. We got to do it again. It's exhausting.
Rent is due. You know what I mean? Every day you got to come in and meet that mule, man. So
that's right.
That's one thing that, and I will say this, and I want to say this on live. Grant is a remarkably hard worker, bro. Like I don't hang around with no slouches. I am not cool with lazy people. I'm just not. I don't do it. And we see the content, we see the work, but when we got a chance to see you face to face and work the field, bruh, like the notes, the tons of notes that you put in during these practices and these games, it's like, bruh, if people understood how much content and how much time you put into understanding the narrative, bro, they would take a pause back. It's easy to just parrot what anybody else is saying, but when you actually find something, right, that takes work, and it's commendable.
And I want to say one more thing to pat ourselves in the back before we stop.
Let's go.
This season was tough. It was 6-10. A lot of content creators or beat writers wouldn't know what to do with that. Still don't really know what to make of what this season was. True. I feel like me, you, a lot of people that we work with did a really good job of making this season more interesting and more entertaining than it really was.
Oh, hell yeah, bro. Like, I'm going to tell you this right now. I will never toot my own horn, but I'll tell you this. My live watch show parties, the comments that I've gotten about the feedback of people helping people get through the season, come on, man, it's undeniable, bro. We put in real work this season. This was the most entertaining 6-10 season of all time. And it was.
The Niners YouTube content creation sphere has gotten quite sophisticated in the last 4 years. It's really good. I don't know that there's another team that has what this team has on YouTube. I don't think there is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there is. I mean, it's a whole ecosphere where people can support themselves talking about one team. I don't know.
Yeah.